Okay, this is going to be a tutorial on how to sew on a button. And this is such a fun project because it's not any button. It's these fun little shiny rhinestoney buttons that I'm going to put on this hat that I got at the dollar spot from Target. And this hat's going to suddenly look like it cost a lot more money than it did. So the main trick that I use, I learned in Girl Scouts, when you thread the needle, it's probably kind of hard to see, but I thread both strings through the hole, and so what that does is it leaves a loop on one end, and that just makes it to where I don't have to tie a knot or secure it. I can just loop the needle back through the hoop, and then I only have one end when I cut it off to deal with. So the first step here is to lay your little buttons out the way you want them, but I'm going to take all but one off so that I can pick it up to sew this one on. So I'm going to try to put this little button right here. So I'm going to pick up the button, and you can see on the back there is a little loop. It's like kind of hard to see here. Little loop. So I'm going to put my needle through that loop, and then I'm going to set it where I want it, somewhere in there. And I'm going to put my hand in the hat so that I'm sure I don't sew through both sides of the hat, front and back, and stitch it together, because I've done that before. I'm going to put the needle down through the fabric, then kind of twist this way, bring the needle back up through the fabric. You can see there the thread is through the fabric. And I'm going to pull it until I just have a little bit of that loop left. So the loop, the thread's going through the hat, then through the button, and then you have your loop. I'm going to pass the needle back through that loop and pull it tight, and you can see that it holds the button right there. So then, just to be sure that it is really sturdy, I kind of grab that button and stitch, basically do the same thing, stitch through the hat, put the needle back through the button, then back through the hat, back through the button, back through the hat. I'm going to do it one more time. So this is just to be sure it's nice and secure. Back through the button. And then this last time, I'm going to poke it through the front of the hat into the middle of the hat and kind of flip the hat inside out. And then in here you can see where I have stitched it. It's probably kind of hard to see because I used white thread on a light pink hat. But you can see kind of where my stitches were. And then what I'm going to do, now all that you really lack is tying this off so that it doesn't unravel as you wear it. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of yarn, pull it through, and now you have a little loop. So don't pull it tight, just pull it so you have a little loop. And then I take it back around the back and pull it back through, and it just ties a knot. And I do that a couple times. One more time. And the great news with this hat is that the back doesn't show, and so I don't really, it's not that big a deal if this little thread is hanging out a little bit, but I'll kind of try to hide it just to show how I normally do that. So I'm done tying knots. I'm going to take my needle and pass it kind of through some of these stitches. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm pull the needle off because I'm done with it. And then what I do is I kind of scrunch that fabric up, cut it off short, and then as I kind of stretch the fabric back out, that end disappears into the stitches. So again, that part's really not critical on this because if you just have a little tail of thread inside the hat, it will never show when you're wearing it. But there we go, and you can see like it's nice and snug and sturdy. And then I just am going to repeat that for the other 5 buttons, and this little hat will be done.